didn't qualify. Apparently I'm, what is it, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others.
For those of you who weren't here last week, we are doing our The Avenger series, not Avengers, that's copyrighted, but The Avenger is not. But we're doing that, talking about the one Avenger, which is Jesus, and then we're talking about how we can actually relate to several of the Avengers. If you remember last week, we talked about the Hulk, who has this amazing gift, this ability to become this huge, giant, green rage monster who's pretty much indestructible and pretty awesome. But we have to worry about, for ourselves, our self-control, just like the Hulk does with his. And then we talked about Thor, who has a sweet hammer. And that hammer is a tool that he's been given. It's something that he physically has, that he uses for good. Just like the physical things that you have, whether it's your car, maybe it's your status in life, maybe it's the clothes that you have, whatever, that we need to be using these tools to share the love of Jesus and to reach the world. Well, this week we're going to cover two other ones. And one of them's my favorite. I don't know if you can guess which one's my favorite of the two.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's lame. Alright, no, I'm kidding. He's not lame. He's not lame.
Black Widow.
He is. Let's just be honest, guys. No. We're going to talk about Iron Man. We're going to talk about Captain America. But first we're going to start talking about Iron Man. And if you are not familiar, let's give you a brief bio here. So his name is Tony Stark. Alright, so Tony Stark is this genius guy. Basically what happens is his family is known and gotten incredibly rich off making weapons. Once again, just in case, we're talking about fictional things as if they were real. When I talk about the Bible, that's a real thing. It's not a fictional, but I just want to make sure I'm talking about it as an analogy, as if it's real. Okay, so he made his money off making things that go boom. Alright, and giving those to the government, or selling those to the government rather. And basically what happens, I'm going to explain to you 3 movies of Iron Man. If you haven't seen them, still watch them, they're great, then I'm going to, spoiler alert, okay? So in the first movie, the first time, Iron Man is not made yet, it's just Tony Stark. He goes and he's doing a weapons demonstration and he gets kidnapped. Alright, he gets kidnapped, he gets hit with this bomb that puts shrapnel into his body. Alright, so what the shrapnel does is it slowly eats its way to your heart. Once it gets to your heart, it kind of cuts it up and you die. Alright, so to save his life, because Tony Stark's a really rich guy, they can get a lot of money for him, they have a doctor that cut a hole in his chest and they put a magnet in there which keeps the stuff from flowing to his chest, okay? Flowing to his heart. It keeps the little shards still. Alright? Are we down the nerd rabbit hole far enough yet? No, we are not. Because what happens is, while he's in captivity, he makes this little thing called an arc reactor. If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's the glowy thing in his chest. Alright? He makes it so that he's able to escape. And he builds this suit. Alright? It's not quite as cool as this suit. The first suit's a little more rugged. But he builds a suit which ultimately leads to him making this really cool suit. Now, after he gets out, he realizes all of his stuff he's been selling, like bad guys were getting. And he feels bad about it. He feels responsible for it. He kind of turns over a new leaf, so to speak. He decides, we're not doing it anymore. I'm going to save the world because I am Iron Man, which is how that first movie ends. Spoiler alert. All right, but he decides to take on this persona, right? He feels guilty about what he's done in the past. And he looks out there and he knows he is vulnerable. He literally has stuff in him that could kill him. And he goes, okay, I can protect myself. He's a genius. He's a smart guy. He built a suit that protects him, that keeps him safe from the outside world, keeps him away from all the harm, right? Now, we kind of do this too, right? And you're like, no, as far as I've checked, I haven't built an Ironman suit. All right, and you know what? If you have, cool, invite me over. I want to get that a test ride. But we do this in our own lives. Most of us have something we're good at. If you're like, oh, I don't have anything. You have something you're good at. And so what we do is we take this thing that we're good at and we build a protective wall around us. Maybe you're good at singing. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're good at singing. So whenever anything comes up, you make sure you kind of jump into the singing persona. You know, you go, okay, well, I can at least do that. I'm good at that. That's what makes me stand out. That's what makes me worth something. Maybe it's your intellect. Some of you are really smart. Some of you, you do well at school. Some of you are really smart and you don't do well at school because you're lazy. Come on. Anyway, no amens? All right. I'm not looking at anybody in particular. But, is he talking about me? I don't know. Am I smart? Yes, you are. You're all smart. Okay. But some of us hide behind our intellect. Like we say, okay, you know what? If anything comes up, well, at least I know I'm smart. At least I know that, you know, even if they can outrun me, that I can, you know, I'll get a better job than them one day. Right? And guys do this a lot. I don't know if girls do it as much, but guys do this a lot. It's kind of like that concept of if someone walks in, and let's say I'm decent at basketball. Okay? I walk in, I'm like, man, I'm good at basketball. And someone walks in who's better than me at it. I immediately think to, well, you know what? I bet you he'd be a pretty horrible youth minister. And I just spit everywhere. Y'all saw that, right? No, that's what I do. Like, oh, you know what? You know what? I bet you I got more hair on my face than he does. Winner. And this is what we do is we take things in our lives and we use them to give us worth. We use them to give us, you know, protection. We use them to give us an identity. Something to put out there between us and the real world. We really, in a lot of ways, we hide who we truly are, what we truly believe, behind these suits, behind these things that when people see us, they see, oh, piano player, oh, band person, oh, this and that. And you know what? There is some protection in that. There is some protection in someone seeing you and be like, oh, you know what? I know what group they're a part of. You know what? They're important because they do Young Republicans, or they're important because they do Young Democrats. They're important because of A, B, or C. And we kind of put this out. But the problem is whenever you find your self-worth in that stuff, it slowly kills you. Figuratively. Okay? It slowly kills you. Now, we're going to jump back into Ironman universe. Okay? So, in the second Ironman, you find out there's some struggles that Iron Man's having. This thing that he's built for his chest, the arc reactor, you know, get back in Nerdville with me. The arc reactor actually has this like radiation thing going on where it's poisoning him. It's poisoning his blood. And there's nothing he can do about it because there's no element that you can use to make it to where it's not going to continue to do this radiation in his life, to continue to, it's just going to get worse, and eventually it's going to kill him. All right? That is what happens to us when we try to make our worth and our protection in our abilities. For example, if I put all of my value into, let's say I now have a daughter, for those who don't know. I have these cute little things. She smiles and we take pictures, and she frowns. We don't take pictures, so y'all don't know. But she does frown too, as Julie knows. But I have this wonderful daughter. If my worth and my self-image and everything important about me is now that I'm a dad and I'm taking care of this little one, that's going to do good for a while. That's going to be good. It's going to be, all right, you know what? That's going to work. She's going to get older. She's going to get 5 years old, and she's going to be running around, and I'm just going to pray that she doesn't say something crazy at children's church, you know? and just doing stuff like that. And then she's going to get 10, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, she's about to be my youth. This is going to be crazy. And then she's going to get to where she's, driving, and then I'm going to have a heart attack come back, and then be like, okay, she's driving okay. And then she's going to, my whole goal is to make Julie and Janet cry in the back. No, I'm kidding. No, they're going to get to the point where they're 18, and now they're going off to college. But you know what? I'm still their parent because I'm paying for college. And then but there's going to be a day when they're no longer under my complete care. And if everything that I am is wrapped up in that, when they leave, it's going to be very disheartening to me. Because my whole being is wrapped up in it. If you're a singer, if singing's all of that, it's all about that. And that one day, whenever that is gone, your worth disappears. And then where are you? Because your worth, your protection, came from what you put out there for others to see. It's crazy how it can be, because I know some days I try to get my worth in how good of a job I'm doing here. You know what? We had 60 people. I'm counting the adults and that small group down the hallway, but we had 60 people at youth. I'm feeling good. And then it's springtime, so next week we have 30, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Did I say something wrong? Was I not funny? Oh, I'm never funny. What? I don't know. And sometimes I get caught up in that, right? For the most part, you probably know what I'm doing. If you're a performance person, like you're doing instruments or acting, whatever, and you do bad, then you're like, I'm more worthless because that's where I find my worth. We all can relate to putting something out there and trying to find our worth in something that is what we do. Now, what's interesting is Ironman, he has this, he has this problem, and the only way he can actually get the solution is actually from his father. His father is the one who actually gives him the solution through a video that he left for him. And that's actually the video that he leaves talks about an element that he knows can be made, but he can't make it because he doesn't have the tools. But the son does, and he has it, and he's able to make it, and then he's able to have something that's not killing him powering his suit. All right? For us, our worth and our protection can only come from one place. And it's from your Heavenly Father. God is the only one who can give you your worth, because if you put your worth in anything else, nothing else lasts. If it's in your good looks, it's not going to last. If it's in your job, you're not going to be working there forever. If it's your intellect, one day you'll get old and you'll lose your marbles a little bit. If you're lucky, right? It's not going to stay there. Our worth comes from the fact that our Father God made us. And when He made us, He said it was good. You were beautifully and wonderfully made. Right? And this is kind of the thing that I really feel like the Ironman thing. In the third one, he gets it removed completely. Spoiler, right? He gets it removed completely. He no longer has this thing in his chest. It's taken out. And then he really becomes whole because he realizes that this didn't make him, his little ring of power here, didn't make him important. He was already important. I want you to know that in the Old Testament, there were some people who had this kind of feeling going on too. The Pharisees. The Pharisees had trouble with this as well. The Pharisees, most of us heard because we always brag on the Pharisees, as we look at the Bible, they're so dumb, they're so bad. The Pharisees are a lot like us. Right? The Pharisees have put all their protection into the law of God, what God said to do. And then kind of what they said that God said to do after they kind of made 600 laws out of 10. Okay? So they had these laws, and these laws were the protection. The laws gave them worth. And so this is what is said to them. This is from Matthew 23, 27 and 28. All right? What sorrow awaits, this is Jesus talking to him. What sorrow awaits you, you teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled on the inside with dead people's bones and all sorts of impurity. Outwardly you look righteous, like righteous people, but inwardly your hearts are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. They were doing their best to get their importance from completing tasks. It's not about what's on the outside. It's not about this. It's about what's on the inside. It's about how God created you. That's where your worth comes from. That's where you actually make a difference, and that's where God wants you to be. It's not about anything else. It's about that. Okay? So then we have Iron Man, who's the funny guy, all this stuff, and then we got my favorite Avenger. Okay? We're going to move on now to the best Avenger. Don't judge if you like anyone else. Captain America. All right. So we have Iron Man, who's kind of like the genius. If you've watched any movies, he's hilarious and he's funny and he's witty and he's self-obsessed and all kinds of things. And then you got kind of the opposite of him, which is Captain America. Okay. Now Captain America, he was born in Brooklyn, like in the early 30s. He is a young man when World War II breaks out. Now he is a little guy. He's like Zacchaeus little. He is little. He is a small man, but he wants to fight in World War II. He wants to go fight. But he's really kind of, just scrawny, asthma, can't do anything, but he feels like the right thing to do is for him to go and fight in the war. And he goes in and he tries to get a part. He tries to be in, and he meets this doctor, and this doctor's like, dude, why are you going? I can punt you. And he's like, it's what the right thing to do. It doesn't matter what my size is. It doesn't matter what I look like. I'm supposed to do the right thing. And so they accept him into this special program. And then there's something I want you to see kind of really defines Captain America. If you go ahead.
You're not really thinking about picking Rogers, are you?
I wasn't just thinking about it. It's a clear choice.
When you brought a 90-pound asthmatic onto my army base, I let it slide. I thought, what the hell? Maybe it'd be useful to you, like a gerbil. Never thought you'd pick him.
Up.
Stick a needle in that kid's arm, it's gonna go right through him.
Come on, girls.
Look at that. He's making me cry.
I am looking for qualities beyond the physical.
Do you know how long it took to set up this project? All the grubbling I had to do in front of Senator What's-His-Name's committees?
Yes, I know. I am well aware of your efforts.
Then throw me a bone. Hodge passed every test we gave him. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders, he's a soldier.
He's a bully.
You don't win wars with niceness, Doctor. You win wars with guts. Grenade! Move, move, move! Get away! Get back!
Dummy grenade. All clear. Back in formation.
Is this a test?
He's still skinny.
All right, so he has this moment. This really, in all actuality, to him, that is a life-changing moment. He is small. He is really, he's kind of pitiful. He doesn't have much abilities. He doesn't have anything. But what he does have is he has good character. He has this in his head what he's going to do. He knows it. And so from this he gets chosen. All right? He gets chosen and they give him the super soldier serum. And he's like, and he's the ones that, he becomes the guy that all you girls are like, oh, Captain America. Now the guy's like, oh, Captain America. But he becomes this super soldier, right? Now this is the first point. There's 2 points with Captain America. And the first one is this. That he didn't get his powers and then decide, to make good choices. He started in the beginning making good choices, and then he received his power. We are the same way. What makes me laugh is a lot of times I'll talk with people, and they'll have this idea, especially youth, you have this idea of, when I become an adult, I'm gonna be more responsible, right? You know what? My room, I don't keep it clean right now, but whenever I get older, I'll take care of that. I'll just kind of fix that up. I'll make a decision. No, really, what you become is what you already are, just bigger and older. If you're a mean kid right now, Don't think whenever you're 22 or 25 or 30 that you're suddenly going to be like, oh, you know what? I was a kid one day and I was mean, but now I just love being kind. No. No. You right now are becoming the person you're going to be. And him, as before he gets his power, before he gets this, all this stuff he can do, he had made a decision. He was going to do right. He was going to do what was supposed to be done, what the right way to go. Us as Christians, right now is the time that you go, okay, you know what? I'm going to choose to do what is right. I'm going to make the right choice. It doesn't matter if it's a small decision or a big decision. It doesn't matter if it's, you know what, everyone in the class is cheating on this homework and it's not even going to be graded, so I'm going to grab that paper and I'm going to copy it too. No, those little decisions lead to bigger decisions. And those little things, whenever you're faithful in small things, then you will be faithful in big things. How many of you have ever played the game What You Would Do with the Lottery? Right? Like if you won the lottery, you'd be like, well, if I ever won the lottery, and you calculate it out. Here's what me and Teresa would do, because we have this conversation about once a month, just for fun. We don't play the lottery, by the way. I don't think it's ever going to happen because we don't play. But if we were to win the lottery, just so you know, of course, 10% to the church. Maybe even 12. Probably 10. But, okay, so 10% we're going to put to the church. And then, okay, you know what? Then we'll set aside some for Izzy's college. Probably set aside for, maybe if we decide to have other kids for college, pay off our school loans so we can stop paying for college. Pay off our house. I wouldn't want a fancy truck, but I would like a slightly bigger truck. And then after all that, then you know what? We would find places to give the rest of it away. Give all of it away. Right? Everyone in imaginary lottery is a philanthropist. What all of you just said. Right? Rich people who give away money. Everyone who plays the imaginary lottery and wins is going to give away money. I'll tell you this right now. If you don't give out of money that you make, you're not going to give whenever you win the lottery. You're not. If you sit there and you go, you know what? Whenever I'm older and I have a real job, not this job that I make whatever, I have a real job, then I'll really give like I'm supposed to, because I'll have ample money. But you know what? Right now, what you're doing is setting yourself up for how you're going to be. If you give 0% of your tithe when you work, like how many of you have a job? Like a job, and we'll say even under table jobs. Not like working under a table, but the government doesn't know you're okay. You're like even all this. If you don't give off of it, more than likely, whenever you get a full-time paying job, you're not going to do it. You're going to be like, oh, well, whenever I get to this level, it's a moving mark, right? Well, whenever I get to this level, and you get there, and you're like, when I'm here. No, we have to make a decision now for what we want to be, for what we want to do. And then whenever we make a decision, God talks about that for those who are faithful in little, He gives them much to be faithful with. I'm not saying this is how to get rich. I'm not saying if you tithe now, God's going to make you a millionaire. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that like Captain America here, he was chosen because of what he did before he had anything. We are the same way. Right now, you get to make those decisions about what am I doing for the future, and then that's where you get it. So that's the first point. Second point is this is going in my bag. The second point is this, is that Captain America, one of the reasons why I like him is because he makes the right decision. And you're like, Jack, you just got done talking like 25 minutes about him with that. No, but what I mean is this, is that even though he's got superpowers, even though he's faced with all these situations, he's making the choice that is right. The one that's to conquer injustice, the one to do something out there. I think we have this misnomer in our lives that, we can't go without sinning. So, I might as well get my quota in for today. Right? I mean, we probably all said at some point in time that, you know what, it's impossible to go without sinning. So, I'll try, but when I mess up, I'll just give in. That is not the case. That is not, Jesus at no point in time said, you know what, guys? You know what? I'm going to die for your sins, so you can, one a day, just cut it down to one a day. Okay, some of you need two a day. But no, what Jesus says is that he said, I died for you so that you can live, so that you can show the world about me. There's a story, and it's not the one in the verse. There's a story about this adulterous woman, right? And you may have heard it before, but basically what happens is this, is the Pharisees are trying to trick Jesus. So I guess they're waiting up late at night outside of someone's house. And they're like, we're going to catch an adulterous woman. And they're like, oh, they're doing stuff they shouldn't. So they drag her out. And then I guess they wait till morning when they find Jesus. Oh, there's Jesus. And they take this adulterous woman, they throw her out in front. And then, like, Jesus, what do we do? Do we stone her? Or, what do you say? The law says to stone her. So what you got? And so we have this moment where Jesus bends down, writes in dirt, yada, yada. And they're like, hey, give us an answer. He still writes in dirt. And then they finally say, Jesus, give us an answer. He gets up and he says, whoever hasn't sinned, throw the first stone. And so starting with the oldest, going to the youngest, they're like, oh, nope, sorry. I'm out. Peace. I've definitely messed up. But at the end, this is what I want you to focus on. At the end, Jesus says, hey, is there anyone around here? He said, he who has I just thought about the Honduras thing. He who has fish. You got to worry about translation. Anyway, I'm sorry, ADD. So, Jesus looks at her and says, hey, where's people accusing you? And she's like, they're nowhere to be found, sir. And because she's British. And that's what it is. All right, so and he says, and neither do I. I don't continue here. And then he says something that's very important. He says, go and sin no more. He doesn't say, go, try not to get into trouble. He doesn't say, hey, go and don't do this sin anymore. He says, go and sin no more. Now, is Jesus being really cruel? Or is he saying, hey, you know what? With me, you can do it. You can live a life where you make the right choices and you don't sin. Our verse for this part is this, and it's from 1 Corinthians 10:13. It says, the temptations in your life are no different from what others experience. And God is faithful. He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand. When you are tempted, this is important, when you are tempted, He will show you a way out so that you can endure. There's no temptation, nothing that is put in front of you that with God you can't endure, that you can't, keep from doing. I think a lot of times what we do is we go, oh man, you know what, I'm just tempted and I'm going to give in, I'm going to mess up. No. God has given you the power. He's given you a way out. Now the problem is a lot of us, whenever we put this to the test, right? We go, you have a sin. We'll say my sin is eating way too much ice cream. Yeah, truth, right? My sin is eating way too much ice cream. See, what a lot of us do is we go, okay, man, you know what? I know that's my sin. And you're like, and some days we go, I'm just going to give in. Give me the spoon. I'll get a small bowl. Some days you're just like, get out of the way. And put on some sack of chick flick and we're going to eat the whole thing. And we go, it's okay. It's okay because you know what? Sometimes we sin. Sometimes we mess up and it's not a bad thing. Sometimes we even go so far as I'm going to endure it. And so you stand in front of the freezer and you're staring down the freezer, you know what I'm talking? And you're like, God gave me the strength to not do this. To not do this. And you stay right there in the face of your temptation. You are not leaving. You're like, I'm locking eyes with you. And then you stay there long enough that you're like, I'm grabbing a spoon, but I'm not giving in. I'm opening the door to look at you face to face. I'm going to open you up just so you can know, this ain't happening. I'm not eating ice cream. I'm not doing it. I'm not. And then you're over, right? What? And you're like, Jack, what in the world is wrong with you and ice cream? I love ice cream. Okay? But here we go. This is what we do a lot of times with our sin, is we go, okay, you know what? I'm going to endure you. God's given me the strength to endure you. No, God said He gave you the strength and He will provide what? A way out. A way out. If you sit in front of the ice cream long enough, you're going to give in. You sit in front of your sin long enough. If you're in a relationship and you're not wanting to go too far in the relationship, if you put yourself in enough dark rooms, it's not good. Not good. All right? If you are someone who has trouble watching things you shouldn't, and you go, you know what, I'm going to leave the TV on until late at night, not good. Or if it's your phone, I'm going to keep it right by my bedside because, this never distracts me when I'm sleeping. No, you got to get it out of there. You got to get away from it. And to jump back to Captain America here, it's like he provides this big gap between him and what he's resolved before the day starts, before his feet and Captain America boots hit the floor when he's getting out of bed, because I'm sure he wears the suit to bed, right? Anyway, so he hits the floor. He's already resolved. You know what? Today I'm fighting for injustice. Today I'm doing what is right. When was the last time we resolved and when we got out of bed? You know what? I'm going to make sure that I avoid that temptation that gets me with all I got today. When was the last time that we sit there and we go, ice cream, you have no power over me? And we go, you know what? I'm not even going to walk through my kitchen. I don't have to walk by it. I can go out the front door in the garage to get to the pantry, and then I'll go around. And we laugh. We laugh. But sometimes that's what it takes for us to avoid whatever sin that is ensnaring us. Whatever thing that is getting you. We have to focus on that. We have to go, okay, God, I'm looking for your way to provide because you said you would do it. My last question for you is this. When was the last time you were grieved by your sin? When was the last time you sinned and you were like, man, you felt bad? Not bad because you disappointed your parents. Not bad because no one else is getting ice cream. Not bad like that, but bad because you know what? God, you told me not to do this, and yet I defied you and I did it. So I think a lot of times we just go like, oh man, I failed again. Oh well. And God's like, I don't want you to do that. You know why? Because I have a better life for you. A life without sin is possible. And it's it's the best life you can have. And you can do it. You know what? You can go a day without sinning. You can go 2. I bet you can even go 3. It's going to take a lot of work. It takes work. But Captain America never falters because he's already made resolute in his mind. This is what I'm going to do. For us, what are we going to do? Are we going to make the decision right now to go, okay, God, today I'm going to not sin. Today I'm going to focus on you. I'm going to listen to when you talk to me. I'm going to make sure that I spend time with you so that I know the right direction, I know the words to say, I know where to avoid, I know what to do. Because it is possible. It's not just possible. God said, do that. Live a life of no more sin. And you know what? I know with God that you can do it. I know with God that I can do it. Because He said we can do it. Will you pray with me? Father God, you are awesome. You are amazing. I thank you for creating the people who created Avengers and the movies and all that, God, and the enjoyment I get from it. God, I pray, God, that we take away whatever is our protection, whatever we find as makes us worthy. Whether it's our skills, whether it's our abilities, whether it's what we drive, whatever makes us feel like we have worth, God, I pray that we remove it so that we can put in what you tell us. Is that you made us worthy. We don't need any greater protection than that. We don't need any greater worth than that, but to know that you made us and you said we were good. God, I pray that you help remove that from our lives. And God, I pray that you help us be resolved to not sin. To know that your power is infinitely more powerful than Satan's. Not even on the same power scale. God, I pray that you help us to hit the floor going, okay, God, today is your day. Today I'm going to go without sinning. Today, it's all about you. God, I pray that when we make our mistakes, we know that you are a loving and forgiving God. That we are grieved by them in such a way that we will run towards you to not do them again. God, I thank you for everyone in this youth group, and I thank you for the lives that we get to be a part of. And God, I pray that you bless them. Bless them with these last 3 weeks of school. Bless them with their life that's coming up, summer, all the things that are coming up. God, I pray that you just work in them. In your name, Lord Jesus, I pray.